What up, though, people? Welcome back to the Lion's Roar vlog. We are on chapter 5 of the second book of Adam and Eve. If you want to catch up to where I am, everything's posted in the playlist. The first book of Adam and Eve has its own playlist on my page. The second book of Adam and Eve has its own playlist. You'll also see Genesis there. I started in Genesis, but then at the end of Adam and Eve, like when they got kicked out the garden, I came to the books of Adam and Eve because it starts to cover when they got kicked out of the garden, like what's happening after. And then it goes back up into, and it connects back up to Noah around Genesis chapter 6. So that's what we're doing with Genesis. That's how come Genesis is not complete. After the books of Adam and Eve, this second book of Adam and Eve, I'm going to be going back up into Genesis. So thank you for taking the journey with me. Let's go ahead and jump into what we got for today. The title for this, I want to read real fast and leave a piece of commentary. The devil paints a brilliant picture for Seth to feast his thoughts upon. So you know how I've been saying that a lot of these images and the shape shifting, and like when the devil shows up as a wise old man, then one time he shows up as a beautiful woman, you know, speaking sweet nothings and kind of lustful and trying to get Adam to, respond to that. It popped. The energy has shown up in lions that tried to kill Adam and Eve. The Most High told Adam that that same devilish energy wants to be God as well. So this energy is a forger energy. And so it says right here, the devil paints a brilliant picture for Seth to feast his thoughts upon. Not that he sees something, but when we read this, when I read this, if you stick around, when I read this, we might see a scene that's being described and so elaborate, and it's like, oh, was that really happening? Oh, how did that happen? But maybe this is portraying something that was going on in the mind of Seth, and it's just given to us in a picturesque or a metaphorical way or a parable driven way, so that we can break it down and see a little bit more and understand what the root of the power that was trying to manipulate his mind, what it was. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going. As for Seth, when he was 7 years old, he knew good and evil. He knew good and evil. So that means he knew both. He knew there was a good, and what it just said, he knew both. And was consistent in fasting and praying. So that means he was leaning towards good regularly. Meaning he understood good and evil. But unlike Cain, who was just okay with leaning heavy towards the evil, so much to the point to where he took the life of Abel, Seth is on something different, just like Abel was on something different from Cain. So now let's look at what we're seeing. Now we have a ratio. Now we can see where the trick of the enemy, what it manifests into. It manifests into Cain. Because in Seth and Abel, we have, looks like what we should be having. But in Cain, he was just inherently evil, right? So we have to look at that. So Seth was consistent in fasting and praying. He knew good and evil, and he spent all his time, and he spent all his nights in entreating God, or entreating Yahweh, the highest one, for mercy and forgiveness. So he spent time seeking balance, seeking peace of his mind and of his spirit, because when you seek mercy and forgiveness, that's balance and peace, okay, of a soul that might be rocky, or even if it's not rocky, just the reverence of knowing that I come to you, God, I come to you, Elohim, I come to you, Yahweh, for that mercy and forgiveness. He also fasted when bringing up his offering every day, more than his father did, for he was of a fair countenance, like unto an angel of God, like unto an angel of the Most High. So fair countenance, like unto an angel of God. What does that mean? That means spiritually, yeah, fair countenance, but that means that his spirit was up. And because his spirit was up, his physical was up, his words were up, his eyes were up, his face was up, his energy was up, his positivity is up. Okay? So he was like a high one. An angel of God is a high being. He was like a high one. He was like what the humans were before they transgressed, even though he was a victim of the transgression because he's a seed of they who transgressed, right? So Seth also had a good heart. He preserved the finest qualities of his soul, and for this reason, he brought up his offering every day. So Seth was like Abel, okay? And again, like I said in the previous video or the one before it, I just wonder if when Adam decided to, if when he chose to be separate from Eve, perhaps that was because he saw what happened with Cain and he was so worried about it that once Seth was a blessing, they said, look, we're not even going to try no more because we don't want to produce another Cain. You see? So like, that's why I said that. So it's just very interesting that Seth is like this, and then Adam doesn't want to have any more children after that. Like almost as if to say, let's just not hurt ourselves anymore. Let's just we're okay with Seth. Seth is the replacement for Abel. We'll take that. As long as we don't have to live with the thought of that Cain is the only one left who's and he's evil. And I messed up even there with Cain. So Eve, I don't even want to come near you anymore. Remember, like go listen to the previous few chapters and you'll get on that. Like if you're just hearing me for the first time, I've read the first 2 books of Adam and Eve. Right now I'm on chapter 5 of the second book and we're moving forward. Okay, so go catch up because there's a lot that has happened here in this saga. So he brought his offering every day because of that, because he's of high he's a high posterity, right? Like he's a child that is up where he's supposed to be, like Abel was, unlike Cain. And God and Yahweh and Elohim, the Most High, was pleased with his offering, but he was also pleased with his purity. So not only was he pleased with the offering, he was pleased with the purity, because you know all throughout the scriptures you got some that was bringing an offering and their heart was messed up, right? Their offering was accepted, but they still had a lot to deal with when it came down to issues of the heart and the mind and the spirit. So the Most High, so here it's saying he was pleased with the offering and he was pleased with the purity. So just like Abel, he gave with a willing, cheerful, giving heart, and he kept his heart up. And he was really worried about how he acted out here, right? And he continued thus in doing the will of God, of Yahweh, of Elohim, the Most High, the highest one, and of his father and mother until he was 7 years old. Okay, so up until about 7 years old, like we just get this consistency. Now let's see what happens, because we know that Seth continues on doing well because it's written about him. But let's see. After that, he was coming down from the altar, having ended his offering. So at about 7 years old is what this is saying. So it's not that he stopped at 7. It's just saying about 7 years old is, I think temptation is about to hit him. But let's see. He's coming down from having ended his offering. Satan appeared unto him in the form of a beautiful angel, brilliant with light, with the staff of light in his hand, himself girt about with a girdle of light. Now, again, I want to say here, remember that it says that he paints a brilliant picture for Seth to feast his thoughts upon. Yeah, because it's in the mind. So what it's saying here is that now there's some, look, check this. There's something about to impress upon Seth's mind that's a trick. It's going to come in a trick form. So it's going to appear to sound like something. Because you know how you hear that still small voice? You hear it, right? So it's going to sound like something, or it's going to present itself or communicate in a way that is designed to make him say, is God or Elohim or highest one, or however they reverence that spirit that they started catching wind was there, like Adam started catching wind. That's why he started asking. And even though that spirit had created them and they knew about it, but they really started understanding. So they're like, hold on, God, is this you? The same thing that'll make them have to wonder and ask is why is the thought coming in as a trick. Okay? And this is why the Most High told Adam, is either in the previous chapter or the chapter before. Go listen to both of those, but it's in one of them. This is why he told him, Adam, I gave you orders already. I will come and let you. I'm very like letting you know what's going on, Adam. You know what's going on. I'm consistent. After I tell you what's going on, I'm not coming back like with these elaborate schemes. He's tricking you with that. And every time it happens, you need to know that's what's going on. Because that's the part, that's the division. That's the knowledge of good and evil. The good has its, hey, come on, you can do better. You can be positive. And the evil has its, you know how like, remember back in the day on the cartoons, on the movies, and they still do it. You have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, and the thoughts. Well, there's an angel here, there's a devil here, you just can't see it, but it happens in the mind. Do you understand? Are you following? So let's just keep going. He greeted Seth with a beautiful smile and began to beguile him with fair words. So Seth is open to hearing this message. You understand? So he's open to it. Because if it comes wrong, Seth seems like the type is going to be like, nah, hold on. Nope, I ain't even falling for it. And he's fasting and praying too. So he's definitely going to notice it. So he greeted Seth with it. So he has to trick. Or he has to at least try to trick and deceive and manipulate. He greeted Seth with a beautiful smile and began to beguile him with fair words, saying unto him, O Seth, why abidest thou in this mountain? Why did you come up here? For it is rough, full of stones and of sand and of trees with no good fruit on them, a wilderness without habitations and without towns, no good place to dwell in, but all is heat, weariness, and trouble. So imagine he's looking and thinking, and then a thought comes, why are you up here doing this? Why you up here traversing this land? Why do you remember with Cain? Why do I need to do this? That was Cain's attitude, was totally opposite. Cain fed into that. He leaned into the negativity. Okay? So follow what I'm saying here. It's deep, like in these 12 minutes. It's deep. It's a short time, and I'm about to be done because it's only a few more verses left. He greeted Seth with a beautiful smile. Okay, we already read that. But all is heat, weariness, and trouble. He said further, but we dwell in beautiful places in another world than this earth. Our world is one of lights, and our condition is of the best. Our women are more beautiful than any others. And I wish thee, O Seth, to wed one of them, because I see that thou art fair to look upon. Remember, spiritually, right? Because it said that about him spiritually. Remember, this thing is just described. It's lying to him. So he's trying to come as the Most High, talking like the Most High, manipulating Seth. Like in the mind. Do you understand? This is not like Satan is not in front of him, like showing him that it's in the mind, y'all. So even though you can't see that spiritual energy, just like the magnetic energy that's oscillating all around us, it's there. Just like science is starting to understand, even a heartbeat, there's magnetic energy that's causing the heart to beat, even though you can't see it. Transcends and passes through your body and boom, boom, like a pulse. Magnetic boom. And it's just, everybody has it. God is in that energy. And he's in everything else and everything that runs everything. And the enemy has a certain power to be able to try to manipulate that energy. But because of consciousness of the human, we have the choice, and how we respond determines on if the enemy has a foothold or not, or if the Most High leads us or not. Okay? The battlefield is in the mind. Let's keep going. He said further, okay, but we already read that. Okay, no, we'll start there. He said further, but we dwell in beautiful places and in another world than this earth. Our world is one of light and our condition is of the best. Our women are more beautiful than any others, and I wish thee, O Seth, to wed one of them, because I see that thou art fair to look upon, and in this land there is not one woman good enough for thee. Besides, all those who live in this world are only 5 souls. Remember what I said in one of the other videos? I'm like, yo, it ain't that many of them around. So like, that would be an easy trick point, because there was a reason that I said that. Oh, that's why. Because remember, like, it says that the devil came as like a woman and tried to trick Adam. And then I was like, yo, this got to be mental, because it ain't even nobody around. So how could he be tricked? He couldn't be. It would have to be in the mind. It would have to be something spiritual. This would have to be maintaining and helping us understand the type of energetic, spiritual, magnetic pulse that's impressing on the mind, trying to get the mind pulled into it and off of and pull further away from the high state. Because remember, it's what it's saying about Seth. Seth is in a high state. Cain didn't have to be tricked because he leaned in. But this thing is always coming around trying to get Adam and Seth and whoever like off the high state. You get it? So let's keep going. But in our world, there are very many men and many maidens, all more beautiful one than another. I wish thee, therefore, to remove thee hence, that thou mayest see my relations and be wedded to whichever thou likest. Like, come with me. So, you could see, like, come with me. I got something for you. Okay? Thou shalt then abide by me and be at peace. Come to my frequency. Follow what I'm saying. If you follow me, hey, if you do this, maybe this didn't come off that direct, but the spirit that's trying to trick him, this is what it's saying. He shall then abide by me at peace, and you should be filled with splendor and light as we are. So basically, you'll be like me. You'll be like us. Or maybe that was said to him. You'll be like us. You'll be like me. You'll be like a higher one. This is how you get back. Okay, that's what it is. That's what he's saying right there. Thank you, Spirit. That's what he's saying, trying to manipulate and trick. Thou shalt remain in our world, in like our world, our frequency, our normalcy of living. Even though you're gonna still be a human, you'll be like us. But remember, this is a trick. These are the lower ones. This is the one who tricked Seth's mom and dad, right? So he says, thou shalt remain in our world and rest from this world and the misery of it. You shall never again feel faint and weary. Thou shalt never bring up an offering nor sue for mercy, for you shall commit no more sin nor be swayed by passions if you follow me. Still trying to trick them, still trying to plug himself in as the Most High and trick and deceive, a little manipulative, a little bastard. And if thou wilt hearken to what I say, thou shalt wed one of my daughters, for with us it is no sin to do so, neither is it reckoned animal lust. Okay, there's one more verse left after this, but remember, remember Adam wanting to stay away from Eve because he didn't, he decided to stay away from Eve, and he asked the Spirit to take away the passion to be with Eve from him. And remember, it says it's no sin to do so, neither is it reckoned animal lust. I wonder just if there's something that, I wonder why the sexual connection between a man and a woman is so, what's the word? Why it's so polarizing coming from this spiritual way, these things all around the Hebrews and Elohim. But Elohim, the highest one, is the one who made that union. And remember, it says in the previous chapter that, Adam and Eve didn't know. He quelled those lusts or those passions in Adam and Eve for sexual intimacy, but he didn't do it for their children. So I find it very interesting. And here he's saying it's not a sin, for with us it's not a sin to do so. Neither is it reckoned animal lust. I wonder if moving into that sexual intimacy has a certain energetic charge that, because of the just whatever it is, if it pulls the beings into a lower state for a second, and then maybe they have to come back up. And that's why who you end up being with is very important, because if you end up connecting with someone who is not on your frequency spiritually wise, you're gonna get pulled even lower. I don't know. This is just in hypothetical, because again, this is a read and response vlog. I'm just giving my own personal commentary. I'm not like a theologian, and I'm not trying, I hope to always find the bottom line, but sometimes some things I don't know about, and I be asking questions. So that's what you're gonna get here too. I don't know why this is portrayed, but this seems like a very valid point for the lie that he's trying to trick Seth into believing. No sin to be with the woman, and neither is it reckoned animal lust. So if it's reckoned animal lust, perhaps they're using an energy that pulls them into that lower state, even though it's not a sinful energy. But if you use it even just a little small part outside of the structure and the order and the sacredness that it should be used with, that sexual and intimate energy that is, then it's going to cause a problem. It's going to end up being a problem, right? And because men and things are so frail and fragile with humans all the time, that's why you got to be careful with sexual. Yeah, because we starting to realize this is all energetic, spiritual type stuff anyway. The physical manifestations, while it's a beautiful thing and it's amazing, that's what life is all about. Like, we're the spiritual manifest in the physical, enjoying this place. But then we have beings on the planet that are so evil and dark and wicked and weird and just deceptive and lying and manipulative in their own minds, in their own rights, that they figured out how to filter the majority into some just straight up dark, clouded, confused, divisive, ignorant junk. That's about to change on the planet. As a matter of fact, ain't no doubt about it. It's already changing, and they hate it. Them evil bastards hate it. And if you really pay attention, and if you really follow the scriptures, and if you really know what's going on, you already know what time it is right now. I ain't got enough time to get into that on this video. And that's not what this vlog is about. So let me just go ahead and read this final verse and end this, because it's been about 22 minutes. And like I say, I want these between 15 to 25. Moving forward on the format, I am going to start posting every other day just to help with continuity. And some of those posts might be a little bit longer because it might have 2 chapters, because I want to start really starting to move forward a little bit quicker now. Like, I want to start really moving through this. So I figure giving people post a day, give them 1 full day to catch up, and then I'm posting a new one every other day. From here out, it's going to be every other day. And then maybe like a week break at certain points, maybe in between the books, I'll take a week break. And then, or maybe 2, I don't know, maybe a 4-day break. I don't know. We'll see how, maybe a week break in between the books or something like that, or whatever. Let's read this final verse. For in our world, we have no God, but we are all gods. We are all of the lights, heavenly, powerful, strong, and glorious. So in our world, that's the final verse. In our world, oh, you don't have to worry about answering to anyone. Just listen to that. That's how the wayward spirit and these wayward minds on the planet are. That's how the gang members are. That's what all the gang members, that's what they be on. Oh, man, they don't want to listen to nobody. They don't want to follow no rules. They don't want nobody to be over them. That's what they be on. Oh, we outlaws, that little wild, ignorant teenager junk right there. That's what they be on. Devil energy. The devil's, I'm telling you right now, you don't have to understand what I'm saying. You don't have to see it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to know it. The devil's energy and these demons' energy, their time on the planet is up, y'all. They're going kicking and screaming. Look, this is how trajectories will work, and then I'm about to be done. It starts, it goes up, it falls down. Okay? If it starts here, it goes up here. This is the apex, and it falls down. We're about right here. They're about to fly straight into the ground. It's inevitable. Gravity already has them. Their trajectory already has them, and they are being massively pulled towards the spikes and fire that they are about to land in. And they so close, it's inevitable. Get your popcorn and your soda and your Twizzlers ready. It's about to be a movie. Come back for the next video. Holla at your boy. Peace.